Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Joel Beya, and we are back on 5. And this is the top 5 African Premier League players ever. Joining us, we got Bola, we got James Redmond, Culture Cams, and Ashley Williams. Now, guys, you know what? I want some real answers here. I know this one might be a little bit tricky, but please let us know your thoughts and let's get going. James, we're going to kick off with you this time. Who's your number one African player on the list?
So we are. I don't know if this is going to be a surprise to some people. It might be, but I have no apologies when it comes into it. Cams, are you ready, my mate?
I already know.
You're ready.
Oh
I genuinely don't believe you're ready for this. But the answer that I'm going to give is Sadio Mane, mate. I think he goes up my number one. And I know a lot of people might be like, oh, Salah might go above Mane. I think their impact on Liverpool is just as good in different ways in terms of the time that they've both had. He is insane. He's won everything since he's come to the club. Not to mention he's won something with his national team, qualified them for the World Cup. On top of that, the performances that he puts in, week out. He had one bad spell at Liverpool for a few months of last season. Otherwise, he's just been absolutely top class. And to be honest with you, I think when you look at numbers, I think when you look at performances, when you look at preference for me, when you look at achievements, the man has won it all. And let's not mention longevity, because he weren't just doing well at Liverpool. He was absolutely smashing it at Southampton on top of that. So we can't just disregard that period of time. More goals than Drogba in less games. As a winger, by the way, I think it's not a bad shout to be putting Mane first, so I'm quite proud of my number one.
I want to ask you something, though.
Oh, for it, my mate.
As a Liverpool fan, with this whole Salah, Mane thing that goes on, so I know you blew off Mane praise. I know that.
But that doesn't matter.
You got to stick with it. But I'm just now just. So are you actually like always been Mane over Salah?
Yeah.
Like you think his contribution to Liverpool has been greater than Salah's?
In my opinion, I can understand why some people would say Salah, though. I can absolutely get it. But Mane, even when he first came in, he just added something to our team that we just never had at that point. We had Coutinho, we had Sturridge, who was unfortunately just getting injured all the time. Otherwise, we would have had a lethal striker there. It was just a case of we finally got someone who was a proper forward. And what are Liverpool known for? We're good at having forwards, you know what I mean? Literally in the Premier League era, we have some of the best strikers that there is. So Mane coming in kind of filled that void of not only getting, I think he got 20 goals in his first season, but in all competitions. But outside of that, the overall contribution that he brought to the team was just immense. So in my opinion, I think that even continued. For instance, I don't think Salah gets the numbers if Mane's not in the team. And I think
James, let me ask Ashley. Ashley, you played against him, right? I don't want you to pick your player yet because we're going to go around. But what's your experience playing against Mane? Maybe versus a Salah.
Well, they're both not enjoyable to play against. I can tell you that much. But I think the difference, it's a tough one to who you're putting over, or if you was a manager, who'd you sign out the two of them? But Mane is so physical and aggressive and strong, so strong. So a ball in the channel, you're both running at top speed. Majority of the time when you're running at top speed, you're a bit weaker, if that makes sense. So the first person to nudge or push off is going to win that battle. This guy runs at top speed majority of the time and stays as strong as he is when he's planted. He's so strong. It's so difficult to play against, and he's so fast. He can go short. He's quick over 5 yards. He's quick over 30, 40 yards. He is not someone that you're looking forward to playing against. And when you're playing against him and it's a derby and you're playing for Everton, and they got so many weapons, Liverpool, but he's one that you're going to have to be right. You're going to have to be physically right. You always have to be mentally right in the Premier League. But just the physicalness of the guy is as strong as an ox.
So, Ashley, do you know when you played against Liverpool and there was Mo Salah and Mane most likely starting the game, would you be sitting there thinking, who's giving you more headaches? Because obviously you're a centre-back, you believe in yourself, you're always going to be confident, but when it comes to what you've just said there about running into the channels with Mane, and when you're running at that much speed, it must be a nightmare to come up against him. All these different things. Who are you thinking about more?
Well, now you're thinking about both. Because you're thinking about both. Mane will expose you if your line's too high. I feel so. If he's in front of you, it's not so much of a problem. But if he gets in behind you, it's curtains for most people, I think, because you're not going to be able to catch him. And then if you do catch him, he's going to have the strength to hold you off. Whereas Salah's a different animal, which I'm sure we'll get to anyway. He's going to do what he wants to do, even though he wants what he's going to do, but he's still going to get it to his left foot and put it where he wants to put it. But you feel with Salah, you might be able to get up, if you can get up tight and your body against him. I'm not saying he's weak, but he's just not as strong as Mane. So that was you're worried about both of them, to be honest. You're up against it with both of them. But Mane is more just, if you get caught, you've done. I don't think there's no coming back because he's so strong. He's one of the strongest players that I've played against.
Wow, that's a proper statement there.
And he's not my number one.
Not yet. We're gonna go to Bola, then we'll come back to you. And he's not your number one. That's crazy. Bola, can you let us know your number one, please? Who are you picking?
Well, let me start by saying I just want to go back to the initial discussion between James and Ashley Williams. I'm not sure even Jurgen Klopp would pick Mane ahead of Salah. That's my honest assessment. If push comes to shove, if you ask Jurgen Klopp to pick one between Salah and Mane, it will definitely go for Salah. So it's a bit tricky, and I understand where Ashley Williams is coming from. You go into games and you're like, okay, these two guys can win games on their own. Who should I be worried more about? And you're a bit, skeptical. You have to be on your A game 247 to get to try to stop these guys. But at the end of the day, you just have this feeling that Salah has that game winner in him than Sadio Mane. No disrespect to Sadio Mane. He's done so well for Liverpool. But I just feel if you ask Jurgen Klopp, the manager, to bench one and start one with a gun to his head, he's definitely going to be benching Mane and putting Salah on the field.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
Do you know what, Pams? Even though I probably wouldn't go on that, I honestly do believe that's actually quite true. There was a lot of times where Mane wouldn't start, but Salah would.
Yeah. But don't you think though, like when you're just watching, when I'm watching Liverpool and I'm talking about them two at their best, I think I can watch Liverpool through a 90-minute game and not know Mo Salah's on the pitch, but he might walk away with 2 goals.
You know what the difference is, Cam? Sadio Mane is magic. Yeah, no, you're right. But he's able to produce that magicness. Sometimes he can be a problem, and sometimes he doesn't score. But you see, with
influence
Salah,
in a game, man.
No, I hear what you're saying, but sometimes there's those players. They don't necessarily do much, but all they need is one chance, one goal. And I think that's the difference. If I'm honest, Bola, back to you. Who is your number one?
Well, for me, it's been a tough one. When I heard about this, I'm like, okay, this is a long list, and this is going to be a very tough one for me to pick. But I had to settle for no other than the man himself, the Ivorian legend, Didier Drogba. Didier Drogba gets my vote. Number 1, 247. And I mean, I don't need to say so much about Didier Drogba. Maybe some of us, started watching football a bit late, but Didier Drogba was a powerhouse at Chelsea. Ashley Williams has played against him, and I'm sure he would have said, oh, Drogba is starting today. Yes, it's going to be a power tussle with this guy. And apart from what Drogba brings to the Chelsea side, he scored lots of goals. At some point, he was the highest goal scorer when it comes to Africans playing in the Premier League. Yeah, I know.
His goal scoring though, I don't think he's got the highest ratio. I know he's had a couple good seasons, but he wasn't.
He won the Golden Boot a couple of seasons at Chelsea. And before Salah and Mane happened, he was the highest scoring African player in the Premier League. Yeah, I know Mane and Salah, got to that figure in fewer games. But Didier Drogba was colossal for Chelsea. Scored goals, assisted goals, and was a thorn in the flesh of even some of the best defenders in the world. I'm sure Rio Ferdinand would never forget that 2007 FA Cup final at the new Wembley Stadium.
Remind him.
He would never forget that game. He would never. And I remember having a conversation with him when I was in the UK, and I asked him about the game against Chelsea in the 2007 final, and it was like, we didn't deserve to lose that game. United were the better side. Game went into extra time. Controversial decisions as well. I feel it should have been a penalty on Ryan Giggs, the tackle from Michael Essien. But, Drogba is always there to punish you. You give him that space, that time, it will be there to punish you. It makes it happen. So Didier Drogba gets the vote for me.
Cool. Ashley Williams, let's go on to you because I want to make sure that we run through the list, guys. So, Ashley.
Yeah, same. Didier Drogba, number one for me. Very difficult opponent. Just the absolute. It is someone that can do it all. Right, left foot, fast, strong in the air. Can score any kind of goal against you. Good team player. Real good focal point. Played against him loads of times. He scored past me loads of times. It was one where you felt like you was probably at his will. No matter what you did, if he decided to do something, he's going to do it. It's too big, too powerful, and too clinical. He's the number one on my list.
Cams?
Same for me, Didier Drogba. I feel like the league was a 4-4-2 Premier League before Didier Drogba came with Jose Mourinho and turned it into a one up top. Everyone else, Thierry Henry, Ruud van Nistelrooy, all these names, they had strike partners. Ask Rio Ferdinand himself, he'll tell you.
Van Nistelrooy switched it up a little bit, though, wouldn't you say?
Van Nistelrooy was up top with Wayne Rooney. He was up top
with Ollie. That was later on, mate.
Yeah, and then before that, he had Paul Scholes behind him, pretty much playing as a second striker.
Yes.
Trust me, 4-4-2. Or he had when Didier Drogba came through, it was the first time you had a 4-3-3 system. Drogba as a focal point as a 9. In an era where defenders were so tough, so physical, he would control back fours on his own. Peter Cech will get the ball, boot the ball to Drogba, who's standing on the left back, and he'll control it on his chest and play starts.
Bam.
Like he was a different animal, and people look at his goal scoring record and say, well, he didn't score enough goals. He pioneered a whole new thing in this league. It wasn't easy to be one up top in them times. Now everyone's one up top, and your striker doesn't even have to score goals anymore. He can be a nice little cute link up man, and your wide forwards. Those days, he was up top on his own, 2 wingers. By the way, his fullbacks, they weren't no Trent and Robertson. They were Paulo Ferreira and Gallas. They're not getting forward. Who's putting crosses in the box? He was having to make things happen so Frank Lampard as well can get his goals.
I mean, he does have Ashley Cole, but that just we'll forget about that.
Maybe later
don't
forget about that.
Ashley Cole wasn't that attacking after a while.
Because I know what people like Cams do. They'll mention one game where they saw that fullback partnership. That was the fullback partnership. Drogba.
After a while, Ashley Cole became better defensively, in my opinion, than going forward. But they weren't like fullbacks wasn't a thing. Like in terms of the Premier League now, everyone's an attacking fullback. At that point, it wasn't. For Frank Lampard to be what he was, he needed a battering ram up there, like Didier Drogba, occupying defenses, occupying centre halves, and that's how Lampard ate, man. Drogba so underrated by this new generation because all they do is look at stats.
I agree with that.
All right,
so I win that one, don't I?
Yeah, go on. So we're going for our second round now. Well, the fans will decide. The people watching are deciding if you're right or wrong, what rounds are right or wrong, etc. James, who's your number 2 pick, please?
People are gonna hate me when I say this answer. It's for me, though. It's for me. Mo Salah. And do you know what could well come into this? And boys, I'm not even lying to you. Liverpool bias. Have you saw the flag that's behind me? Swear to God, very well could be. But when I really break it down, honestly, mate, I think the volume that Salah's kept up with since he's joined the club, he's just relentless. Honestly, he breaks his own records, he sets records, and he breaks them himself, and he tries to reach for the stars. And when you compare what he was at Chelsea and to what he is now, no one ever thought that. And to have the top goal, to be the top goal scorer in Premier League history in an individual season, to score 100 goals as quick as he did, to win the trophies that he's won, to have the impact that he's had, all while still having an impact for things like his national team and stuff. I really do think that you've got to put him in that conversation. It's proper close, and I'm sound if you put Drogba above Mane and Salah. I don't think that's a terrible shout at all. He was world class. But you're talking about my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all right.
That's fair. Bola, what's your number 2?
Well, I was never going to have 2 Liverpool players in my top 5. So I want you guys to understand the need to just, go with one at the end of the day. So special mention to Sadio Mane. Brilliant player. He's done so much for Liverpool. I like to liken his case to that of Karim Benzema at Real. When Ronaldo plays, you don't really see how good Benzema, plays. When Cristiano Ronaldo is on the field, Benzema is just playing second fiddle. It's the same thing for Sadio Mane. When you think Liverpool, you think Salah is the focal point for Liverpool no matter what. So that makes him my number 2 when it comes to top African players in the Premier League. Mo Salah, very efficient, always there. Liverpool need to win a game. You can count on Salah. And when it comes to the decisive moments in football matches, it's always Salah. And I feel bad for Sadio Mane because he's so underrated. You have a feeling that if Salah wasn't a Liverpool player, Sadio Mane would have been the focal point of the Liverpool side. But there's a Mo Salah, and that's just gives him the edge over Sadio Mane for me. So Salah, number 2.
Ashley Williams?
Yeah, I got Salah too as well. I think that the records speak for themselves. This is one where I'm going to throw stats and records into it. Personal experiences, as I said before, so difficult. He plays on that right wing. I play left centre back. Ball over the top. I know for a fact he wants to shift it to his left foot and probably bend it in the far corner. And for some reason, you just can't stop him from doing it. But even though he wants to do it, you're showing him on his right foot. Somehow he's going to shake and he's going to jig it to where he wants it. And he does it all game. All game, you feel like you got him in your pocket or you know what he's going to do. And somehow he just wiggles out of it. I think he's a good professional. Yeah.
Ash, how is your coach getting you to prepare when you're playing against Salah? Because you're saying you know what he's going to do.
Cover your back post. He's going to pop up from a Robertson cross. That's about it.
You're going to all the fundamentals. So show him outside, show him on his right foot, show him down the line. Don't let him inside. You get tight. You might want to try and rattle him early. He does have a really good It doesn't matter if I've left a few on him before. You know what I mean, to try to rattle his cage a little bit, and that don't work. He's got a good kind of persona. He's calm. He gets back up. He gets on with it. Obviously, a real good athlete, and just the numbers speak for themselves. This is one where I'm gonna say the numbers speak about it because to score that many goals and to break that many records, you got to be doing something right consistently.
Just a quick question for Ashley. I mean, I haven't played against Salah, and I like the fact that you mentioned the way he shakes it. You really don't know what's going to go for. We know his favorite is the left, but at times, he tries to trick you and still goes with the right, and at times still comes back to the left. But what do you think is the best way to contain Salah? Do you think man marking works, or you just allow your instinct as the game goes on?
Well, clearly I haven't got the answer to that because I never really stopped him. So I don't really know. We can't. No one knows the answer. But I think if you've got someone as fit and as fast as him, you might want to sacrifice one player, hopefully one of your fullbacks, and just say, look, stick with him. But the problem when you're playing against Liverpool is you got these other strikers that are gonna expose and pick apart. If you take one out and say, okay, we'll shut down Salah, for example, then the others are going to start popping up into them holes. But like I said before, he's going to get the ball where he needs to get the ball. So he's going to get it outside his left foot at some point, whether it's now or it's in 8, 10, 12 seconds. So he's going to shake and shake and shake and bake. And then at some point, he's going to get it there. So it's another one where you're kind of hoping for the best, really. You can get up tight with him. You can try and bully him. You know what I mean? You can leave a little bit on him and rattle him and that, but he's going to keep going. It's not the first time. People try and do it all the time to him. So it's a tough one. Some of these strikers and some of these players we're playing against do what they want when they want more often than not.
Cams?
I mean, I'm going Salah second just because of his numbers and his, his impact.
That has surprised me, mate.
Listen, I disagree with nearly everything everyone has been saying about Salah. I mean, I feel like we're talking like he's Ronaldinho or something. I mean, I don't think he's that guy, in my opinion. I think he's a great goal scorer, gets in the right spaces. But for me, you know, I like my wingers to excite me. You know what I mean? I want my wingers to. When I watch football, I look at wingers and I want to be like, wow, like how did he do that? Like Mo Salah doesn't give me that feeling when I watch football. I just see him. He ends up scoring. I'm like, all right, yeah, fair enough, nice one. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not, but simply because of greatness, I don't hate on greatness. He's great in terms of what he's done in this league, but I think he's a beneficiary of the Klopp system, and I think he's. If we're talking about talent,
then you shouldn't make your top 5. I mean, you shouldn't pick him at all.
You know what? He has to because of just.
I was going to say, why is he putting him second? But saying all this about him, it sounds like he shouldn't be there.
Records and stuff, I can't knock that. But if we're talking about pure talent and stuff, there's plenty of players on this African list that would have.
But you can agree that he's a really good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, for sure.
A really good player. No, therefore I agree.
He's a good player for sure.
Proper good, yeah.
James, I'm trying to rattle through this. Talk to me.
Oh, don't you worry, mate. These are the ones who were all talking themselves with Mo Salah. I already know the score. In number 3, Didier Drogba. Same reasons that everyone labelled before. World class. Countless moments where he was the one who picked the team up. Revolutionised the game. There you go. Number 3, Didier Drogba.
What about yours, Bola? Number 3.
Number 3 for me has got to be another Ivorian. And I'm sure you guys are guessing already. Who is that big Ivorian that played in the Premier League? Of course, it's no other than Yaya Toure. Yaya Toure, massive player for Manchester City. Just went into Manchester City when they were about to start dominating the Premier League. And he scored loads of goals. The triumph against United. I keep saying Manchester United because I never forget the matches that hurt me as a United fan. That semi-final, Yaya Toure punished us. Michael Carrick, why did you do that? I will never forget. So Yaya Toure is always there to, the way it's rare for you to see a complete midfielder has the power, has the height, is physical, is fast, can score, can assist, and can also cover up when the need arises. And he suits into almost all the systems for Manchester City. And you look at the titles he won at City as well. Even when he fell out with Pep Guardiola, he still managed to win 3 Premier League titles. And you have to say the dominant spell of Manchester City was actually spearheaded by Yaya Toure. And he had so many awards that followed.
Cam said it was Aguero, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a core in it. There's a core.
If the midfielders don't do their job, Aguero ain't seeing the ball. Aguero ain't scoring. So the midfielders have to do the job. And the pivotal man in that midfield for Manchester City was Yaya Toure. Won several awards, so the CAF African Footballer of the Year 4 times in a row. There was no competition. It was all about Yaya Toure. So it gets the number 3 spot for me. And in fact, it was close to getting my number 2 spot. But I had to settle for Salah because of what Salah has done and what he's still doing. So Yaya Toure for me, number 3.
Ashley?
So this one's a little bit controversial. I don't care. You lot need to respect this guy, right? My number 3. And don't tell me that not every single one of us in this chat, have not been in the playground, struck the ball, and shouted, Yeboah!
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious?
Right, listen, before you let me speak, listen, some iconic moments and goals that we're still talking about, some of the best I've ever seen, I know he didn't do it a lot, and he didn't do it for long enough. But you've got to put some respect on Yeboah's name for them strikes. We've all pretended to be him. I don't care what anyone says.
I don't believe this.
Actually, Actually went 7 years before he came on here.
Listen, so you telling me you never pretended to be Yeboah in the playground before?
Not really.
In the day.
No, everyone did. Everyone did. With that strike, I know what he's talking about.
Me and James was like, no way, mate.
Listen,
I'm not going to lie.
Sorry,
go ahead. Remember about you. Yeah. No problem. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, we're talking about these players now, but this was back in, was it 95 maybe, or 96 or something?
96,
so it must be one of the first African players to really kind of make an impact in the Premier League. Is that, did the people in Africa kind of look at him like that, or he just forgotten?
Well, I know exactly where you're going with Tony Yeboah. Like you said something very important. Almost the kids growing up in the playground would always shout, Tony Yeboah, it was a Ghanaian powerhouse as well. But, we're talking about the top 5 Premier League, top 5 African players to play in the Premier League. So I'm not sure if he still be fitting into the top 5. No doubt about his class. And you mentioned that goal against Liverpool in 1995. That goal was insane. And he scored loads as well for Leeds United. But, it's the top 5 we're talking about here, not top 10
top 3 I'm talking about. Top 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a huge one. It's a big call.
Wow.
With your full chest.
All
right.
Cams. No way. I've got to go Yaya Toure as well. Yeah. I mean, I think he gave the Premier League probably the best individual season for a midfielder ever in that 13-14 season. When he was it felt like every week he's just scoring a free kick or literally running past 4 people and putting it in the back of the net. I think his technical ability doesn't get spoken about often because you look at his frame, you look at how big he is, and you look at how fast he is. But technically, he can jink past you like he's got feet like David Silva or something. At the size that he was, the weight that he was, I just think the way he played was just so entertaining to watch. Yaya used to do things. I remember his goal. I know it was in the Premier League, but it was in the Carling Cup. But he used to do things that looked effortless, and it's like it shouldn't look effortless for you. Like the way you're built and stuff, it shouldn't look effortless.
He looks lazy, innit, Cam? Like
he's just all right. I'm just gonna whip it top bins and just walk off, and then even his celebrations, he looks all lazy. It's like how did you do this? He could just switch it on like a light switch, and I just think he's such a unique type midfielder. You think about Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, and that you can kind of all put them in the same kind of box, but Yaya, there was just something about this guy that was just so special, and I'm just grateful that it happened in the Premier League because you didn't get to see it enough at Barcelona. So I've got to give him top 3. That Tony Yeboah would have been. I don't know where he would have been, like 15th or something. I don't know where that one came from.
James, let's go for your number 4, please. We're almost done.
It's a good thing you want it wrapped up quicker because I'm going to say Yaya Toure for my number 4, and I think for all the reasons that everyone's just mentioned, how good he was on the ball, the numbers that he could put up and the impact that he had on the team was just boss. So can't overlook him.
Bola?
Number 4 for me has got to be my Nigerian brother, John Obi Mikel. Number 4 for me.
What above Essien?
When he came on in the 75th minute, the game was done, mate. The game was done.
You see Mikel, go home.
When you see Mikel, you know someone is coming into the game to lock the midfield, and it was very instrumental. But people forget that John Obi Mikel was ever regular when there was a Michael Essien, when there was Deco, when there was Lampard. Mikel always started for Chelsea. The only thing that Mikel didn't have is the number of goals. And that is why we've rated the likes of Salah, Drogba, even Yaya Toure ahead of John Obi Mikel. But aside the goals, Mikel played over 350 games for Chelsea, won everything at Chelsea, was ever regular in the Nigerian national team. And we know what he brought to the game. He brings that calmness. He holds the midfield, gives the attacking midfielders the space to go forward. And what else do you want to? What else do you want from a footballer?
Good player, but he's not making top 4 for me.
I appreciate the Nigerian prop.
I mean, it's making it for me. Like I said, it's a difficult one, but I just had to, factor in the number of games he played for Chelsea. It's hard. Even Drogba didn't get those figures at Chelsea. He played so many games, but like I said, the only thing left out of this game was the goals. And the game nowadays is all about the goals, the stats. So many stats about the game nowadays. But you need to look at the silent workers in the football game or the football club. And Mikel is a silent worker.
Well, I think we disagree with that one. I disagree with that one. Actually, here you go.
I've got Yaya for all the reasons, the same reasons the guys have said. Just instrumental in that team. Difficult to play against, just like a train through the middle, drives the team forward. And everything that Cam says is just like you're watching him. The game's in slow motion for him. He looks like he's moving slow, but he was just everything. He was just a difficult player to play against. He could do everything, and he had the frame of another sport or something. I don't know. He's so tall and seemed heavy, but he get around the park. I think he's one of the best players. Obviously, he doesn't go above Yeboah, but he was good.
Cam.
This is the last minute switcheroo actually for this one. I'm gonna
Yeboah, he's gone with Yeboah.
I'm gonna go Riyadh Mahrez. I'm gonna go Riyadh Mahrez. You know what? I had someone else in front, but I'm gonna go Mahrez.
Someone else?
It would have been Mane. It would have been Mane.
Okay, cool.
But I'm gonna go Mahrez because he was the first African player of the year in this country. The first African to win the Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year, winning the title with Leicester. Now we're talking about Mane's impact at Southampton. Mahrez won the title with Leicester. Like this is things that we're never gonna ever see again, in my opinion. In terms of, what was it, 5,000 to 1 or something ridiculous? So I think what he done there was just unbelievable. And then he went on to Man City, and now you're playing with so many stars that even if you put 20 goals in, 23 goals, whatever it is, you're just like, yeah, all right, cool, whatever. We've got Sterling, got KDB, all these type of names. But he has settled into the Pep system so well. He's one of their better performers in the Champions League as well. I know it's the Premier League, but I just think also the way he plays is entertaining. His chops, mate, I'm telling you, he's got more chops than, I don't even know what I can say, than chopsticks, if that even makes sense. So
Cam, sorry to interrupt you. One question. Who do you reckon's better at him and Raheem Sterling?
I think Sterling is more effective, but I think Riyadh Mahrez is more talented. I think Mahrez is more of a naturally gifted talent. I think Sterling is more intelligent in terms of he can play kind of more positions. He knows where the ball is going to drop. That's not a coincidence that all the time it's dropping to Sterling. But I just think Riyadh Mahrez is entertainment. The way he's chopping, his first touch is one of the best I've ever seen in the league. And I just got to go with him, man. Players Player of the Year, man. African player at Leicester. That needs more credit.
I believe he won the AFCON as well, didn't he?
Won the AFCON.
He actually won. He won that final against Senegal.
2019.
Broke Nigeria's heart in the semi-final with that free kick. So,
we'll never forget.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna go Mahrez because I feel like he's gonna get overlooked in this one for some reason. So I'm gonna go Mahrez.
Before we go for number 5, Ash, do you Sterling or Mahrez? You look like you made a bit of a grimace first. I don't know.
No, because I thought it was a tough question. Then they're both they're both equally as good but different. I think that, like you said, like Mahrez is technically better than Sterling. I think Sterling has like a bit more heart, as in terms of he's gonna he's strong, a little bit stronger. He's got a bit more will about him. Very intelligent, like you said. He's in the right places at the right time. Sometimes technically he lets himself down a little bit, but like we've seen, Mahrez wouldn't do that. It's tough to pick. It depends what you want. If you're asking me what winger do I want, I say Mahrez. If you're asking me what kind of striker or someone in and around it, then I'm saying Sterling. But it's I grimace because it's a tough question to answer.
Okay, so this is the 5th and final choice. Redmond.
Yeah.
Take it away, man.
There we go. So, I don't know if everyone else is going to choose this player, and it's fine if you just want to have a go at me for it, but I'm going with Essien. Essien, honestly, mate, do you know when I think about Essien, when I was growing up at least, I'd watch him, and I'd be like, you're a freak. You're a freak. Just the way he hit the ball, the power he could generate, his all-round ability as well, what he achieved at Chelsea. Honestly, mate, that's why I was surprised before when I heard John Obi Mikel above Essien. Not even in a bad way, two stylistically rather different players.
You know what it is, Redmond? Our friend here, Bolo, is Nigerian, and obviously...
I hear you, Bolo, don't worry. I hear you, mate. No, Essien, it was just top class for me, and that's why I'd probably go with him as my number 5. But it was out of him and Mahrez. I just thought I'd go with someone slightly different.
Fair enough. Bola?
I'm not going to change my mind. You guys want me to pick Essien. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to stick to my guns. And my number 5 is, can you believe it? Nwankwo Kanu at Arsenal. Yeah, we will never forget the impact at Arsenal. got to Arsenal, a very competitive Arsenal side. It was hard for him to break into the starting 11, but somehow he found game time, started some games, and scored loads of goals. Was part of the dominant era of Arsenal. And I always say this as well about Kanu. When he's on the field, I like to compare him with Salah. He gets the ball, you don't really know what he's going to do with the ball. He could decide to dribble, he could decide to pass, and maybe go for a goal himself. He also won the CAF African Footballer of the Year. You don't win. That award is so prestigious in Africa. If you win it, you must have done well in the Premier League and the national team. So Kanu gets the nod for me because he was part of the Arsenal setup that was very dominant in England. And this is not because I'm Nigerian.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course it's not. You know, make sure Kanu sees this video after this out. Yeah, no worries.
No worries.
This is how I know that you guys aren't serious, right? Because you picked the top 5, yeah, and you have not put on my 5th player, yeah. He had a move that they named after him, and we still talk about it today. You wanted entertainment, Cam. You said that Mo Salah's not entertaining. Yeah. Jay Jay Okocha don't make no one's list but mine.
I feel embarrassed.
Man.
He's top class.
Jay Jay Okocha. I don't want to hear about he didn't play for a top team, titles and all that. Jay Jay Okocha is a natural-born football player. Entertainment value, the way he manipulated the ball, just bringing so much entertainment to your TV screen, which is what everyone wants to see. Jay Jay Okocha, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's not a bad argument, like
the whole time I've been waiting for this moment. I've been waiting for this moment. You know what? I can't be a Nigerian and not put Okocha in there. I just can't. But Mane, you know, I feel like taking out Salah just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Okocha. You know what? Look, Okocha, he's a very unique one, innit? Because like he's just literally purely for vibes. Everyone
he's better than Mane, though, Cams.
Yeah, he's not better than Mane. But I mean, as Ashley said, man, listen, people used to go on the playground and you remember what he did to Ray Parlour, like in the corner, like just everyone was trying that. It got to a point where it got annoying. You know what I mean? You couldn't even play a normal match without somebody trying that. So his impact is unbelievable, but I think it's more kind of a vibes impact, you know what I mean, than actually what he did in the Premier League. So I'm just gonna have to stick with it. But I feel embarrassed. Ashley's embarrassed me a little bit still.
Nah, say it, man.
To watch this. I don't want no Nigerians watching this one. I'm telling you.
It's going back in the community. Don't you worry about that, man. Guys, listen. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. It's actually been tricky. This one. It's not as easy as
very tricky.
Think. You know, let us know in the comments what you think. I want to say a massive shout out to Bola for joining us, James Redmond, Culture Cams, and of course, Ashley Williams. Myself, Joel Beya. You'll see me again on 5. You'll see these guys on 5 again soon. And yeah, make sure you check the description so you can catch these guys and follow them, you know, subscribe to their channels, everything, man. And yeah, we'll be back soon. Peace.